Hey! Hey! Oh my gosh! It's so great to see you right now. Oh wow. Yeah, I was just going out to go shopping for a bit. I didn't work today. I woke up and they didn't have any work for me. And then I had trouble going back to sleep, but I eventually did, and I woke up really late in the afternoon. And I had so many weird dreams, both before I woke up in the morning and after, and I think I remember most of them. But it is just one of those things where it's kind of fragmented, but I feel like I do remember more than normal. Hold on. I better remember that this time in advance before I get halfway through the video, and then I've already, the gum is disintegrated. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it in the couch yesterday when I went to look for it. Oops, it's on the floor now. And yeah, I mean, the floor of the grocery store we're at. I mean, So anyway, and then that was that. And I don't know where it went and if it's going to cause damage structurally or otherwise to the recliner that I was on. But it's okay. So anyway, lazy day today, but I am definitely working tomorrow. Oh my gosh, what is in my beard? Okay, that's a little better. So lazy day. And I was just reflecting because of the downtime I had. I do enjoy my solitude for this reason, to the extent that I'm allowed to have any, by our market economy and our hustle and bustle society. They don't really value solitude. I mean, it's like, who has time to think when we are slaves from the cradle to the grave? For the man. They don't like that very much. I have read 1984. Now, I did not read that in high school. I don't know why. I did read it just about 5 years ago, and I was like, wow, that book really does describe our society, except all the parts that doesn't. But otherwise, yes. And so, anyway, and so I was thinking during my downtime today about how this is the time of Boydromion, I think. Boydromion, I don't know. It's one of those Greek months of the year. And they don't line up. I did email a scholar about this during the pandemic because I had a lot of downtime then, which was actually great. But I did get a little... I had a little cabin fever. I wasn't in a cabin, though, but I suppose I still did medically constitute the same condition. And so anyway, I emailed a scholar of the classics, and he said, well, yeah, Boydromion doesn't exactly follow along the same lines as our modern Gregorian, or was it Dominican or Justinian? Or Julian, it's one of those two or four. It's their calendars, the 12 months. And he said, it was a lunar system. It wasn't according to the beginning of September to the end of September. Like we have it every year, no matter what, 365 days. As they say, 365, 24/7. Or is it 24/7, 365? Yes, I think that was it. But it's really 365.25, and that's why we have a leap year every 4 years. So it's really imprecise. I mean, it doesn't exactly track the movement of the spheres, but it does do a good impression, an approximation, and that's all anyone can really ask for. You just do your best, All God asks of anyone is that you do your best, and this whole thing about God requires sinless perfection from people or else they go to hell. It's just like, come on. I mean, that's just weird. Like, why would God create people in his image, knowing that what they would do later, and then be like, oh, I'm going to punish you forever, even though I don't have to. But then people who think that, they'll say, well, God has to do that. He has to. And then you ask them why, and they say, well, because it's his nature. It's his nature. He has to punish sin. He is holy. He has to separate people from his presence if they are sinful. And then you say, well, but isn't everybody sinful? Then wouldn't there be nobody in heaven? And they say, well, no, but he sent his son, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and he did die on the cross for our sins. And it's not that I really don't believe that he did. I just don't think that it was because he had to, or else people would all go to hell. But either way, it's like, why would some people be forgiven and others wouldn't? It just doesn't make sense. And then they say, well, if you don't believe in him, then he won't forgive you. And I'm like, what kind of forgiveness is it if they have to believe in the forgiveness before it's granted? I mean, does that even make sense? How can you believe in something that you haven't experienced yet? I guess it would be belief because you don't know in that case. But it just doesn't make that much sense that God would be so petty and vengeful and unyielding. I mean, if he created the entire universe, couldn't he kind of, be a little more flexible in his thinking? I mean, my therapist has been talking with me about flexibility. And also my physical trainer, my personal trainer, my physical therapist, it's one of those. And he has been like, you're very inflexible, Raül. And I'm like, what do you expect? What do you expect? I'm not exactly a triathlete. Although if I was, I would maybe actually be even less flexible because that can take a toll on the muscles and joints after a while. But anyway, so I was like, Boydromion is the month of the greater mysteries of Eleusis. Speaking of religion and Christianity, now this predated Christianity. I didn't even really know anything about them till a few years ago, before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, I was reading about them a lot because it was like we were in the underworld ourselves. It was like we were experiencing the descent of Persephone, or in other mythology, Inanna, I think was her name, or Rihanna. I don't really recall, to be honest, at this time. But Persephone, she, as you may know or may not know, because there are many popular renditions of this story now. I don't know why. It's a little weird because it is actually a rape. It's just a rape. I think there is some disagreement about the Greek words that refer to her being seized by Hades, but it's really kind of a messed up story because she was seized by her uncle Hades, and he got permission from Zeus. like what? What? Zeus was her father, and he was like, sure, I don't care. And he only went and was like, you gotta give her back. You gotta give her back, bro. Literally, bro. He was his brother. So that would make sense. And he's like, because my wife Demeter, she is just like a chatterbox, and she was just such a nag. She's like, I won't allow anything to grow if Persephone is not returned to me. And the only reason Zeus even cared about that was because if crops didn't grow, then people wouldn't be able to offer them to him. Or was it just that they would die of starvation, and then, of course, then they couldn't praise him if they were dead? I don't know, but either way, it's very narcissistic, except he was not actually Narcissus of the myth of the same name. But he did seem to be pretty full of himself. I have to be honest. If I'm being honest, he was a bit of an egomaniac, and not entirely unlike Yahweh of the Old Testament. All these guys were kind of the same. I mean, they were just major pricks, to be honest. But that's just the way it went back then. That was just par for the course. And we have to understand it was a different time and a different place because we live in America, and that is actually across the Sea of the Atlantic. Both places are the Middle East and the Mediterranean. And so the myth of Persephone is what, even though it was really kind of messed up, it also had a deeper symbolic significance. And it was celebrated during the lesser mysteries of the springtime and then the greater mysteries of the fall. And so right now would actually be the time of the greater mysteries. And it's just a time of reflection for me as I think of these motifs of death and rebirth. And I have undergone something of that kind myself recently in changing my name to Raül Goodman. I'm actually, though, thinking of doing Raül Goodman hyphen Benavides, or maybe Raül Benavides hyphen Goodman. But I always thought those hyphenated last names were so clumsy and cumbersome, and they just were lacking in gravitas. I mean, it's like they were trying to have more gravitas, but then it's just really pretentious and really just like, I mean, how many really famous authors can you think of from the past who had a hyphenated last name? I mean, some in the last century or two, maybe. Like, there's some French ones, some Spanish ones, but it's just kind of a lot. It's a lot. And then you have people like Paracelsus, who I think he was an alchemist. I don't remember if he was Greek or Chinese, though. He was one of the two, I think. But I didn't know this till I was reading about him this year. He had like 8 names. It was crazy. Look him up, Google it. Google Paracelsus. He had 8 names. It was really crazy. I mean, and they were funny names. I kind of wish we just referred to him that way, but it was a mouthful, even to read. It was a mouthful for my eyes, and I thought it was funny. I posted his name on Facebook without any further explanation because I do like to confuse my friends and troll them because it's just really funny when I know what I'm saying and they have no idea. And then I'm like, well, Google it, silly. If you don't know, Google it. If you Googled, all you have to do is copy and paste, put it in Google. It takes 10 seconds. A 5th grader could do it. A 5-year-old could do it because they are digital natives. But I have to be honest, I think that even though the children of today are digital natives, unlike me, maybe, I guess I'm sort of one, but I didn't use the internet till I was like in 5th grade or something like that. But anyway, and the first thing my dad said when I used it was, don't look at pornography on the internet. And I was like, what's pornography? And he's like, it's that stuff that the neighbor boy showed you once that he got out of a coin-operated magazine stand, I guess. I don't know what it was, but he didn't say that because he didn't know. But my friend across the street was a real weirdo. He was a pervert. He was a total pervert. But that's okay. So anyway, but I didn't look at pornography then. But I'm not really a huge fan of it because it actually makes me a little uncomfortable. But, I'm a man. I just, it's one of those, just one of those things. I do have natural urges too. And so anyway, I think maybe the generations of tomorrow, and I do mean like actually tomorrow, like the ones being born now, I'm afraid they are not going to know how to operate technology because they are going to be increasingly reliant upon artificial intelligence. And then they won't know how to do anything. They won't even know how to wipe their own butts, honestly. I mean, probably a robot will do it for them if they hail from a family of means. But, of course, most don't. So they'll still have to learn the hard way. And that is actually a good reason to improve your diet, to be honest. It is a reminder that what you put in, you get out. Quite literally. And it gets expensive with toilet paper and hemorrhoid cream if you don't watch what you put in. So, and even sometimes if you do, I don't always know why it ends up coming out that way. I do blame it on my muse sometimes because, like I was saying before, she does tend to have a bit of a temper. She's a bit capricious. And she gets really mad if I don't listen to her. I think it's kind of maybe an attention thing. She doesn't like to be ignored. But then she tells me it's for my own good. But sometimes I do have to wonder if it really is. But speaking of nags, so Demeter was like, yeah, give me back my daughter, you asshole. And whatever the Greek word was for that. And then, so Persephone came back, but she'd eaten Styx pomegranate seeds. I'm like, doesn't she of all people, wouldn't she? I mean, she's the queen of the well, not yet. She wasn't the queen of the underworld yet, I guess. But I mean, she was a mythological figure. I mean, wouldn't they know? Don't eat the food of the dead. That's like rule number one in myth. In myth, not Myth, the computer game, but also probably that, to be honest. So that's like rule number one. I mean, anybody who has seen the Pan's Labyrinth knows that. Although I guess they actually base that on myths like the myth of Persephone. So maybe I'm getting it kind of twisted. Getting it all effed up, if I can say it that way. Didn't say the word itself, so it's okay. But don't get it fucked up. There, I said, okay. I mean, sometimes I just have to test it out, see how it sounds, and how I feel when I hear it in my own voice. To be honest, I feel like that was okay. I don't feel like there was any malice. Certainly not malice aforethought in that, I don't think. But I'm not much of a legal scholar. Although I have been told, because I do enjoy talking and arguing when I'm in a bad mood, that I should consider a career in law. Not law enforcement, because I'm a bit of a klutz and I might shoot the wrong person. Might even shoot myself. That would be really unfortunate. But I'd probably get off with a slap on the wrist, because that's just the way it is in that profession. So anyway, so she ate those seeds, and then it was like, then she had to stay there 6 months a year, or according to some versions, I believe 8, or was it 4? And then she's out for 8. I don't know. You think they'd be able to agree upon that, but I guess the people who came up with these myths exist at different times, maybe couldn't really come to a consensus. But anyway, so, so it's like, why would you eat pomegranate seeds? They're not even that good. I mean, I like pomegranates. I love the pomegranate popsicles from Stater Brothers. I think they're called Outshine. I did eat a bunch of those recently, and then I looked, and they have 25 grams added sugar in each popsicle. I thought it was natural, but I guess not. That does explain why it tasted so good. But pomegranate seeds just don't sound very filling. They really don't even sound that tasty, to be honest. But then I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's just kind of like the Garden of Eden, where they got kicked out and they were eating the fruit, which has traditionally been considered to be an apple, but it actually doesn't say that in the text. You just have to read it through once. You don't even need to know the original Hebrew or Aramaic or Koine Greek or ecclesiastical Latin. You don't even need to consult the translation of St. Jerome to know that it doesn't mention any particular fruit, okay? It's kind of like how they don't say what day God rested on. But people just come up with stuff. Maybe it's because they weren't able to read the Bible for over 1,000 years. I don't know. I don't know where people come up with this stuff. They don't even know. If you ask them, they get really defensive and angry, and they might burn you alive if you catch them at the wrong time. But so I'm like, oh, it's like being kicked out of paradise in one of them, like the Bruno Mars song. You make me feel like I've been kicked out of paradise. I don't know. I feel like that was a bit pitchy, dog. That was a joke. But actually, if I had been singing that on American Idol, I do think Randy Johnson would have said that. And Simon Schuster may have also had a bit of a beef to pick with me. But it's just the way it goes. I wasn't born I wasn't born like Adele. Thankfully, because she's a little big. I think she lost some weight, though, to be honest. She just looks old now. I mean, take your pick, you know? But anyway, so, but she's still a slay queen. I mean, not as much as Beyonce. I mean, come on, it goes without saying. So anyway, and she's a kind of a stalker if you actually listen to the lyrics. She is a bit of a stalker. I guess maybe that's okay because she's a woman. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. But anyway, so it's like Adam and Eve got kicked out of paradise because they ate an apple, supposedly. But then also in the Persephone story, it was a pomegranate. I mean, they actually specified it because the Greeks were really good. They paid a lot of attention to detail. They were very lively storytellers. So anyway, so it's the same kind of thing, you know. I mean, I guess the snake was kind of, except does it say, it does say he was the serpent. It doesn't say he was Satan, though. That's another thing. It doesn't say Satan. It doesn't say an apple. I mean, where do people come up with this stuff? Come on, guys. That is just sheer eisegesis. Or maybe it's just the accretions of tradition, but I don't know. Anyway, it makes for a good telling at any rate. But so yeah, in both cases, there was like a trickster figure. Although Hades was only a trickster when he offered her the pomegranates, but then Hermes came to rescue her on behalf of Demeter. And he was actually a trickster, but in this case, he wasn't really a trickster. He was more just a messenger. He was an intermediary for the gods. And he was like, Hades, come on, dude. Like, this ain't cool. We gotta go. Give her up. Give her over. Come on, let's go. But he was really, he was very skilled in the art of rhetoric. So he was very persuasive. He did have sufficient gravitas. He did. But yet he also had a smoothness of speech. He was like John Chrysostom in the sense of having a golden tongue. Now, not literally, because that would probably be hard to talk if you did. Not as hard as St. Maximus the Confessor getting his tongue cut off for having the wrong views about the two or one wills in Christ. I think it was called Celitism, or monocelitism, or duocelitism, or duolipas. I don't know. I think Celitism is, or Thelema is, that's the Satan guy, the Crowley guy. I don't know. I try to avoid that stuff. It's just a little dark and weird, honestly. It makes me think of Hades. That guy was kind of sketch, honestly. I guess Persephone did marry him, but then she had some side pieces because, I mean, hey, it wasn't her fault that, I mean, he was her uncle, for God's sake. That's just weird. I don't care if it's a myth. That's still like, what? Come on. But she didn't really have a choice. But the perks of it was that she was the queen of the underworld, which is pretty cool. I mean, you talk about a slay queen. Even Beyonce ain't even got nothing on that, to be honest. You know, cause like she's like, who run the world? Girls. But she doesn't run the underworld. But girls do run it, or at least the maiden, the core, or I think it's the Corey. Definitely not Corey Feldman. I don't even know anything about that guy. I hear his name all the time, though. I don't know why. He does look kind of weird. But anyway, I gotta go. So it's been a long, 22 minutes and 53 seconds. 22 is the number of manifestation, though, and Persephone manifests from the underworld when Hermes retrieves her for her mother Demeter. And then it's symbolic of rebirth and the regeneration of the seasons and agriculture and the cycles of birth, life, and death. And I think we could all stand to reflect on these things a little more during this season, regardless of your religious background. For me, this is just a very spiritual time. It's a spiritual time. I've never partaken in the mysteries of Eleusis because I've never been to Greece. And it would cost a lot for airfare. And it's also bad for the planet, to be honest. And that's kind of ironic if you're going to celebrate a festival of agriculture or whatever it is, and then you're destroying the planet in the process. I mean, I had a friend who told me, she's like, I want to fly over the rainforest before it's gone, just so I could see what it looks like. And I'm like, and destroy it more in the process? What? Come on. I'm not even a climatologist, and I know that doesn't really make sense. But she meant well. She did. It's okay. It's just hard to undergo all these transitions in this time that we are alive. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's more than any one person can really take on at this time. I don't know why, but it just is. We're not able to adapt that fast. Evolution didn't expect these kinds of advancements. It did not prepare for them. We are running on some old software here, or is it old hardware, or both? It's an old program at any rate, and it will probably be extinct within my lifetime because of it. So, or at least the next generation. So, I don't know. Just enjoy it while it lasts. What can you do? I give it to God. YOLO. As they say on TikTok, YOLO. Anyway, so I have to go. We'll talk again later. I hope you can find everything you were looking for. Oh, they do close in 5 minutes. Well, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to. Yeah, it is getting kind of late, isn't it? I didn't realize it was almost 11 o'clock right now. Okay, well, I'm just gonna stop now. I'm gonna leave. Bye.